MetroWest Medical Center announces a plan to transition the local hospital's nursery services that the state nurses union calls encouraging, what you need to know ahead of the preliminary school committee election in District 2, and a look at the work being done locally to combat the opioid epidemic through harm reduction. I'm Brendan Fitzpatrick, and this is The Frame, Framingham News in Focus. Hello and welcome to The Frame, an initiative of Access Framingham. We begin with the recent announcement from MetroWest Medical Center, as they're planning on transitioning the nursery unit at Framingham Union Hospital to a Level 1B nursery. The local hospital had been home to a Level 2B ward for decades, with advanced care offered to families with birth complications. A Level 1B ward would provide some of those resources for complications, as at least one in-house advanced practitioner will also be within the building to assist at all times. While she called the new shift a compromise, local nurse Ginny Ford, who began her career at Framingham Union's maternity ward back in 1978, saw some positives in the newly announced plan.
It's very important to me that we keep this quality care going at Framingham. It means a lot to me personally as far as what we do and how we support our community.
In a statement, MetroWest Medical Center CEO Greg McFarland said, quote, "Maintaining this program, as well as our plans for enhancing services for mothers and babies, will allow us to continue to be able to be an important part of this momentous occasion for families in our area." This Level 1B transition differs from the plan that Framingham Mayor Charlie Sositsky learned about back in February. Tenet Healthcare, the Texas-based company that owns the local hospital, had proposed shifting the nursery to a Level 1A nursery, one that offers basic care for newborns. Feedback to that first pitch was overwhelmingly negative, as municipal politicians, state health officials, healthcare workers, and residents alike raised a number of concerns about transitioning to a Level 1A nursery, such as gaps in resources for local families and dips in staff morale. Ford pointed to those public comments as the spark that caused Tenet to change course and preserve some of the resources required for maternity complications.
It's made such a big difference. I think Tenet would have just done what they planned on doing and making it just a regular nursery and not having the support system in place if we didn't fight for it.
In a statement provided to The Frame, Massachusetts Nurses Association president and Framingham native Katie Murphy said that the state's largest union for registered nurses is quote-unquote encouraged by Tenet's new plan for a Level 1B nursery. The Framingham City Council met this Tuesday, September 2nd, to discuss syringe service programs within the city. The Needham-based nonprofit organization Justice Resource Institute had previously operated Program RISE within the city, which, among other things, provided drug overdose prevention and harm reduction services, along with efforts to provide clean syringes and safely dispose of used needles with the help of state funding. However, Framingham Health Director Bill Murphy told local legislators this week that without warning, JRI ended their syringe service program in the city 2 weeks ago, as they had advised residents to contact the local health department if they saw any needles. Murphy pushed back on that notion due to a lack of frontline workers to address the issue. At-large City Council member George King, who's also a board member of Framingham Force, a local group advocating for awareness and care in the middle of the nationwide opioid crisis, expressed disappointment in JRI's decision, adding his belief that something must be done in the meantime locally.
I don't want to see people put their head in the sand and think that this isn't a problem, because it is. And just willy-nilly saying no to programs that do work, whether people like them or not, that do work, is, to me, unconscionable.
District 4 City Council member Michael Cannon called for the fostering of a community-wide discussion on this topic so that all input can be accounted for. Those who assist in these harm reduction programs, alongside residents who are worried about littered needles, as well as property managers who interact with the tenants by these facilities. City Councilors Janet Liam-Bruno and Phil Ottaviani also said that the future location of any syringe service programs should be considered. The Board of Health will be discussing this matter during their meeting on Tuesday, September 9th. Sticking with the City Council, prior to Tuesday's meeting getting underway, District 5 Councilor Novel Alexander advised his colleagues that he'll be taking a temporary hiatus from his municipal role. In an email sent to the rest of the council, Alexander cited the toll that multiple losses in his family have taken in recent years, adding that he's looking to care for himself and his loved ones. In the meantime, Liam Bruno has agreed to be responsive to the District 5 constituents. A reminder that residents in District 2 can make their voices heard during a preliminary election for a seat on the Framingham School Committee on Tuesday, September 16th. Incumbent David Gordon is running against a pair of challengers, Luther Evans and Lorena Tovar. We here at The Frame recently spoke to that trio of candidates to learn more about their candidacies. Those conversations can be found on our website, theframe.news, along with Access Framingham's cable and YouTube channels. The field of 3 will be dwindled down to 2 through the preliminary election, as the pair with the most votes in this month's election will move on to the municipal election in early November for a chance to win a 2-year term on the board. If you're a District 2 resident and you're seeing this episode on or before Saturday, September 6th, there's still time to register for the preliminary election. In-person registration will be available until 5 p.m. on Sunday. In-person registration will be available until 5 p.m. on Saturday, and online registration will close at 11:59 that night. Polls on Tuesday the 16th will be open from 7 a.m. until 8 p.m. For additional voting information, including polling locations, visit the city's official website, www.framingham.ma.gov. And more details on top stories that we cover every week on the program can be found on our website, which again is theframe.news. We've got you covered with in-depth written articles, full feature pieces we've shot across the community, and the calendar filled with upcoming local events. Be sure that you're subscribed to our email newsletter so that you never miss out on Framingham News in Focus. With the calendar now turned to September, we have notes on some upcoming community events. First, the Framingham Business Trade Show returns this Sunday, September 7th, at the Memorial Building and along Union Ave. Residents are invited to enjoy the free event, which is being put on by Downtown Framingham, Inc. Live entertainment, food and drinks, seminars, workshops, and more activities will be on hand, as attendees will learn about a range of businesses that call the area home. The trade show will run from 2 to 6 p.m. Also, the deadline is approaching for individuals, groups, and organizations to apply to participate in the second annual Find Your People Fair in Framingham at Nevins Hall on Saturday, September 27th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Developed through the city's partnership with the Massachusetts Coalition to Build Community and End Loneliness, the fair was launched as a way to connect residents with their neighbors through shared interests, local clubs, and other opportunities to boost interaction with others. Through Wednesday the 10th, organizations and volunteer groups can fill out an application on the city's website, framingham.ma.gov, though submissions will not guarantee that applicants receive a booth. Finally, Farm Pond Park will be the site of a new series of parkrun events starting on Saturday, September 13th. Parkrun events across the country are free opportunities for people to run, jog, or walk a 5K route in their community, while the volunteers and spectators are also invited. Parkrun in Framingham will be held every Saturday at 9 a.m. at Farm Pond Park. And finally this week, a preview of our Frame by Frame segment, as we shift back to the work being done by local advocates to combat the nationwide opioid epidemic. Recently, a vigil was held outside of the Memorial Building to honor and remember those who lost their lives to overdoses. As September marks Recovery Awareness Month, we sat down with State Representative Kate Donahue and the Director of Anchored in Recovery, Bridget Nicholson, for a look at what steps are being taken locally and at the state level to combat the opioid crisis, as well as the benefits of harm reduction and the importance of community support.
We really need to treat the opioid epidemic like the public health crisis it is, and not a moral failing.
It's a well-tailored suit. It's different. You know, my size and shape isn't going to be the same as yours, and my addiction recovery isn't. We may overlap each other for sure and utilize similar resources, but it's going to be tailored differently.
As always, you can find that full frame-by-frame segment on our website, theframe.news, as well as our social media pages. Follow @FrameNews_ on Instagram for more local journalism, and search for The Frame on Facebook as well. Subscribe to Access Framingham's channel on YouTube and hit the bell icon there to be notified whenever new uploads go live. You can also listen to or watch full frame episodes on Spotify. Be sure to follow us there. That's all for this week's Framingham News in Focus. For everyone here at The Frame, thanks for joining us. My name is Brendan Fitzpatrick. We'll talk to you next week. Take care.